Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Live by Design with Grace Kariuki. It's good to see you. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave your comments. Let me know how you are experiencing this process, and I will be glad to interact with you as we seek to live by design through our relationships with others, as well as our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with our higher power. So we've started the process of talking about boundaries, what they are and why they are important. Today I want to start off by asking you, do you know what your boundaries are? Now, there are two types of boundaries. There is the emotional boundary and also the physical boundary. So the physical boundary is where I do not want you to be very close to me. So we normally say when you want to stay within a respectful distance with another person, you need to be arm's length. You see how my hand is? If you the closest that you need to come to me is where my hand is reaching, where my fingers are. That is a safe distance for me to feel you're not cramping my space. It is important to know that physical boundaries are very important, because if you do not feel very physically safe around a person, then you will react to that. Your body will be in arousal mode, where you are feeling like you could run away anytime, or that you are not safe. And so physical boundaries are very important. Other types of physical boundaries is when a person hits you. So that is a violation of a physical boundary. When a person yells at you, it's a physical boundary, because your ears are having to listen to the yelling, the anger, and the harsh words that you're receiving from that person. Other types of physical boundaries is when people come into your room, into your office. You're supposed to be concentrating and working on your jobs, your tasks, but then they are not giving you the space because they want to come in and talk. That's a physical boundary that is being violated. And then also the other physical boundary would be people taking your things. You know, it's some sort of a physical boundary, because there is something you can see. They have taken your pen, they have taken your cup, they have taken your dress, they have taken something that belongs to you. They have violated your personal property. When I was growing up, my father was very particular about boundaries. So we are 4 girls in my family, and so just like any typical family, we would share clothes, and my father would notice. And I remember many times he would call one of us who is wearing a dress or a sweater that belongs to somebody else, and he would say, "Why are you wearing so and so's clothes? Go take them back and wear your own clothes." He was setting boundaries that we need to respect the property of others. Siblings, let me talk about siblings, especially when you are grown. Sometimes you will find that you live in the same city, like you live in Nairobi, but you have your own house, and your siblings have their own house. At times you might find that they just pop up at your house without warning, without permission, without telling you that they are coming. So it's always important. It shows respect, and it also shows that I really care about you. I need to let you know that I am going to do this thing. I just don't show up because I don't know what plans you have. A long time ago, I used to have a friend who would tell me. She would call me and she would say, "What are you doing?" And I would say, "Nothing. I'm just lying here taking my time." And then they would say, "Could you take me such and such place?" Then I would feel something. It took me a while to realize that the reason why I feel resentful, or the reasons why I felt negative, is because I felt that she was not asking for my permission. So I felt manipulated, because she would ask me, "What are you doing?" And if I say nothing, then she would request me to do something. And at that point, there is no way I can say no, because I have already told her I'm doing nothing. In her mind, me not doing anything meant I am free, and I am able to do whatever she wants to do. Now, so I needed to get to the point where I told myself, even when I'm doing nothing, that doing nothing is important to me, because I'm relaxing, I'm taking time for myself, and so I am not available to take you where you want to go. And so eventually I had to be able to speak up, because I started developing a lot of anxiety and a lot of bitterness, not bitterness, but resentment towards her. And eventually we were able to talk about it and we settled it. So I set a boundary. So what did I say? I told her, I don't mind taking you where you need to go. However, I would like you to tell me in advance so that I can plan myself, because the times when you call me, I'm usually taking that time for myself, to take care of myself. And when you ask me to do that, I feel that you are not respecting my space, and you are not asking me or requesting me to help you. You are just informing me that you need me to help you without considering what my needs are. So that is what you need to do with boundaries. When we talk about emotional boundaries, you're talking about when people violate us emotionally through name calling, through manipulation, through not believing in us, through making us feel that our opinions don't matter, through arguing about things that are important to us, through dismissing our needs. So I tell my spouse that I like it when you come home on time so that we can have dinner together as a family. It means a lot to me. And he doesn't listen, and he doesn't follow through. Then I feel that he is dismissing what is important to me. And eventually what happens is that I begin to build resentment around that. And then any other thing that he doesn't do as I have requested or asked, then I will pile these things up, and eventually I will blow up at some point, because all through this time I have been feeling my boundaries are not being respected. So it's very important for us to understand emotional boundaries are as important as physical boundaries. Sometimes the physical when the physical boundary is not honored or respected, it may turn into an emotional boundary that has been crossed. How? Because then I begin to feel that you do not take me seriously, you do not value me, and sometimes we even go to the extent of saying you do not care or love me. I have had parents who have said, because I keep telling my child to do something they don't, and they keep repeating the mistake, that the parent will say my child is defiant, my child does not care about my feelings. Those statements, they are a statement about a violation of a boundary. And so it's important for you to be okay with accepting what your boundaries are, and so that now the next step you will need to go into is to ask yourself, so how do I set these boundaries in a way that the people I set the boundaries with will respect and honor? And that will be what we'll be talking about in the next 2 videos, so that we can identify ways to set our boundaries. So just to recap what we have talked about today, is that there are 2 types of boundaries. There is the physical boundary, and there is the emotional boundary. In both cases, you as a person need to define what your personal boundaries are, physically and emotionally. And how do you do that? You do that by identifying whenever somebody does something to you, how you feel, those emotions and thoughts that you have that are negative. Identify them, and that is how you know somebody has violated something. Anger, resentment, bitterness, jealousy, envy, all those negative emotions that we feel, those are indicators that somebody is violating an emotional boundary or a physical boundary. It is good for us to own that, and then take the process of saying which boundary was violated, and how, and by whom. And then we begin to say, how do I communicate? Maybe I communicate, they don't get it, so I need to find a way to communicate communicate it better, so that I make sure that they get it. And so we will be talking more about that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and continue to tune in and give us comments about what you're thinking about this subject. We'll be glad to interact with you. Call me. The number is on the screen if you need any assistance. And also you can go to my website, www.gracekariuki.co.ke, for more information on how I can be of service to you. God bless you, and continue to live by design.